Have you ever had one of those days where you feel like you've just, given away absolutely
Oh,
everything?
yeah. Completely drained.
Right. Like that highly specific but universally exhausting feeling where you've spent literally all your energy giving too much of yourself to the wrong people. Or, I don't know, maybe you're just pouring effort into situations that offer zero return.
It's the worst. You just feel entirely depleted.
Exactly. And then when you finally get home to the people who actually matter in your life, the ones you genuinely love, you just have absolutely nothing left in the tank. You are just a hollow shell.
Yeah, it is a deeply uncomfortable emotional state to sit in.
It really is. But right now, incredibly, that exact feeling of total depletion is the beating heart of a song heading straight to the world's biggest and honestly, arguably flashiest music stage.
Which is wild because it is a profoundly dark emotional space to explore, particularly when you place it in a competitive television environment that usually rewards, high-octane energy, massive spectacle, instant gratification.
Yeah, all the glitter and wind machines.
Right. But here, we are looking at a piece of music that completely flits the traditional script on what a modern pop anthem is supposed to do. And it is so fascinating to see how audiences are actually reacting to that subversion.
So, welcome to today's deep dive. Today's date is April 4th, 2026.
Hitting close.
We are so close. We're just weeks away from the Eurovision Song Contest 2026 in Vienna, Austria. And for this one, we have pulled together a really fascinating stack of materials for you. We are looking at official Supernova 2026 voting data, international betting odds, some deep-cut Wikipedia stats.
Love those.
Always. Plus multilingual lyric translations and direct audience reactions straight from YouTube.
And our mission today is to thoroughly examine Latvia's entry for this year. The song is called Ena.
Which translates from Latvian to
Yeah,
shadow, right?
exactly. And it's performed by the artist Atvara. We're going to explore the mechanics of how an intensely dark, viral Latvian ballad managed to just completely conquer its home country.
Yep.
And more importantly, we're going to analyze whether this highly localized, deeply vulnerable performance can actually beat the, frankly, brutal international odds it faces on the global stage next month.
Okay, let's unpack this because to really understand the friction here, we need to start with the artist herself and the incredibly heavy emotional weight of this song.
We do.
So Atvara, whose real name is Lian Sturmane, is this rising singer-songwriter who essentially just blew up on TikTok. Her single, Paimanis Queries, hit over 2 million views.
Which, just to contextualize, is a massive metric for the Latvian market.
Oh, totally. And it landed her a spot on the soundtrack for a TV series called Nelaktīvīzi. She also just dropped her debut album, Volume 1, Vaid Sirdi Kabruksas Gist, and she has already sold out 22 shows across Latvia.
A huge accomplishment.
But then, in November 2025, she releases Anna. And the tone just shifts dramatically. It is so stark.
Yeah, the lyrics immediately thrust the listener into a scene of, well, complete emotional bankruptcy. The opening lines literally translate to, "So much warmth is given to cold people, but you come to those close to you, emptied out."
Wow.
Yeah. She is articulating the crushing weight of someone who is desperately trying to hold a fractured world together and realizing they are failing the people closest to them in the process.
It's like giving away 99% of your phone battery to absolute strangers throughout the day.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Right, like you are answering random emails, dealing with frustrating coworkers, taking pointless calls, and then you walk through your front door to your family, the people who actually deserve your best self, and you only have 1% left.
Yeah, you're practically blinking red.
Exactly. You're just totally dead, practically vibrating with the need to shut down. And the lyrics of Unday push even darker into this really painful domestic reality. She sings, "Tonight, Dad won't be coming home. Tomorrow, he'll clink glasses with a smile." She talks about drowning in a whirlpool of doubt.
It's very raw.
It is. But, okay, here's my pushback on this whole trajectory because there is a wild contradiction in our sources.
Okay, what did it?
She co-wrote this deeply traumatic song with Jonas Jachmenkins, who goes by JJ Lush.
Yes, she did.
If you look at his Eurovision history, he composed Latvia's 2022 entry.
Oh, eat your salad.
That's Your Salad by the band City Zoni. That was a wildly upbeat, hyper-energetic, frankly comedic track about being green and eating vegetables.
It's definitely a trip.
Right. So how does a producer pivot from a viral joke song about salads to a black and white ballad about a broken home and emotional emptiness? I mean, it feels like complete whiplash.
Well, what's fascinating here is that whiplash actually demonstrates the sheer depth of contemporary Latvian songwriting right now.
How so?
I mean, it is incredibly easy to pigeonhole pop producers into a specific sound, especially when they score a viral comedic hit like Eat Your Salad. People think, oh, that's the funny guy.
Right, the novelty track guy.
Exactly. But Menkins and Atvara have tapped into a completely different psychological vein here. This pivot connects to a growing cultural willingness in Latvia to explore complex, painful domestic realities through mainstream art.
Interesting.
Instead of just delivering glossy pop fluff designed to mask reality, they are taking universal domestic trauma and packaging it in a way that demands attention. It really proves that popular music, even within the strict confines of a 3-minute pop contest, can still function as a vehicle for serious, unflinching storytelling.
Okay, I see that. But it's one thing to write a heartbreaking, heavy song in a studio. It's entirely another to get a whole country to actually vote for it.
True.
I mean, how did a track about a broken home beat out standard pop anthems to win a national selection show? Latvia's national selection is called Supernova, and they wrapped up their 11th edition on February 14th.
Which is, ironically, Valentine's Day.
Literally Valentine's Day. Nothing quite sets the mood for a romantic evening like a whirlpool of doubt and a dad who isn't coming home.
Yeah, the timing presents a striking juxtaposition, certainly. But the voting data reveals that the Latvian public completely bypassed the expected Valentine's Day escapism. They leaned directly into the discomfort.
They really did. Atvara dominated the entire competition. She won both the jury vote and the public vote.
A total Swede.
Looking at the numbers, she secured 27.7% of the public televote, cleanly beating the runner-up, a group called Cut Kylie.
And in a multi-act field, pulling nearly a third of the entire public vote is just a landslide.
Yeah, it's huge. And the hardcore fans saw this wave coming, too. In a pre-show poll of over 12,000 fans, she was already leading the pack with 24%. Plus, the commercial success in Latvia right now totally mirrors that voting dominance.
It's everywhere.
The track hit #1 on both the Latvia domestic airplay and Latvia domestic streaming charts. It even climbed to number 13 on the overall LAI-IPA airplay chart, which is the official metric tracking what Latvian radio stations are actually broadcasting across all genres and international artists.
And those radio metrics indicate a massive cultural consensus. It wasn't a fractured decision where, music professionals preferred a technical vocalist while the public blindly voted for a catchy beat. The entire country, from the industry executives programming the radio stations to the casual fans watching at home, rallied behind this highly specific emotional frequency.
So what does this all mean when we look at the mechanics of modern fame?
What do you mean?
Well, when I see an artist blow up on TikTok and then win a public vote, I immediately wonder if this is just like an algorithmic hack.
Ah, I see.
We see this constantly, right?
Yeah.
Someone goes viral on an app, they amass a built-in fan base of teenagers tapping screens, and they just steamroll a televote.
Yeah.
So does a viral internet star actually have the ability to command a massive physical live stage? Or are they just coasting on the momentum of a smartphone screen?
That's a fair question.
Mm-hmm.
But the 22 sold-out live shows we mentioned earlier provide the crucial counter-evidence to that skepticism.
Oh, right. The tour.
Yeah. TikTok algorithms are highly effective at getting people to passively consume a soundbite on their phones, but converting digital scrolling into physical ticket sales.
Actually leaving the house.
Right. Convincing thousands of people to leave their homes, pay money, and stand in a room in a country the size of Latvia requires genuine, tangible star power. TikTok might manufacture virality, but selling out 22 venues proves she triggered a shared psychological response, not just an algorithmic one.
That makes a lot of sense.
Furthermore, sweeping the jury vote at Supernova validates the mechanics of her live performance. The jury is comprised of industry professionals analyzing breath control, pitch, camera connection.
They aren't just looking at follower counts.
Exactly. They actively penalize performers who hide behind a digital aesthetic. They voted for a masterful, technically sound live vocal.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, though. Dominating a domestic market where everyone understands the cultural context and the language is one thing. But how does this intimate Latvian language ballad survive the giant, glossy Eurovision machine waiting in Vienna?
That is the ultimate test.
Latvia is scheduled to perform ninth in semifinal 2 on May 14th.
Position 9 places her right in the middle of the broadcast. In a lineup of 15 to 20 songs, the middle can become a severe blind spot for viewers if the performance doesn't immediately arrest their attention.
And I mean, adding to that pressure is just Latvia's absolute roller coaster of a history at the contest. Across 25 participations, they won the whole thing in 2002 with Marie N.
A legendary performance.
Truly. But they have also suffered the absolute last place finish 5 different times. Right now, they are fighting to maintain a fragile 2-year qualification streak, with Dons qualifying in 2024 and Tatmeidas in 2025.
So Atvara is carrying the immense expectation of extending that streak to 3.
Exactly. But if we look at the current international betting odds, they are painting an incredibly grim picture.
Oh, the odds are brutal.
Finland is the heavy overall favorite to win the contest at 29% with Linda Lempinas and Pete Parkkonen. Zooming in on semifinal 2, Denmark is favored to win that specific heat at 35%.
And where is Latvia?
Meanwhile, Latvia is sitting near the bottom in 12th place with a measly 2% chance to win the semi. Since only the top 10 countries qualify for the grand final, the bookies are explicitly predicting Latvia's elimination.
Ouch.
Yeah. It's less of a David and Goliath story and more like, I don't know, bringing a beautifully crafted, slow-burn indie film to a summer blockbuster festival. The environment just feels completely hostile to the art.
The data becomes even more complex when you analyze the hypothetical grand final odds, too.
Yeah, explain that, because bookmakers run projections on how the points might split between the two voting blocks if a country does make it through, right?
Right.
And this is where the numbers completely baffle me. The bookmakers have Latvia ranked 9th with the professional juries. That's a highly respectable top 10 finish.
Very respectable.
But they have them ranked a dismal 14th with the televote. If Atvara absolutely demolished the televote in Latvia, polling almost 28% of the public, why are international bookmakers predicting the European public will completely reject her? What is causing this massive split between the jury projection and the televote projection?
The split projection perfectly illustrates the psychology of the two distinct voting blocks. Professional juries operate under a specific mandate. They are trained to evaluate a song like sheet music.
Okay.
They reward vocal ability, raw composition, dynamic range, and artistic integrity. As she proved at Supernova, Atvara possesses all of those technical qualities. The juries are highly capable of looking past the language barrier to appreciate the pure structural and vocal architecture of a song.
So they're grading the execution, not just the vibe.
Exactly the distinction. The international televote, however, relies heavily on instant accessibility. You are asking a viewer in Spain, the UK, or Greece to form an emotional connection with a song in exactly 3 minutes.
Which is really hard.
It is. An intimate, brooding ballad about a fractured home, sung entirely in a language that the vast majority of the continent does not speak, represents a massive barrier to entry for the casual viewer.
So they might just zone out?
The bookmakers are calculating that the casual televoter, who might be tuning in for a high-energy party anthem, won't have the patience to decode the thematic darkness of Aina. They are betting that the language barrier will result in alienation rather than connection.
But wait, if the bookies think this will fail because of the language, are we actually seeing that alienation happen in reality?
What do you mean?
Well, when someone in Italy or Finland hears this song, do they just tune out? Let's look at how real international fans are responding in the YouTube comments under the official Supernova performance.
Good point.
Yeah.
Analyzing initial audience reactions often serves as a much better leading indicator of a song's true emotional reach than early betting odds anyway.
So I found this comment from an Italian fan. They voted for the video and left a comment praising her beautiful voice. They called her singing suasive, which is a fantastic descriptor for that pulling, convincing vocal tone.
It really is.
They did add pity. I don't know exactly what it's about,
Ah.
but they still voted for it. And then there is a Finnish fan who commented that the Latvian language sounds really good in this specific track, sending respect to the wonderful people of Latvia. So even without lyrical comprehension, there is a clear aesthetic and emotional appreciation happening. The sound of the words is basically carrying the weight of the meaning.
Those comments highlight a historical truth about this contest that bookmakers sometimes undervalue. Lyrical comprehension does not strictly dictate success.
Really?
Absolutely. The sources remind us of some vital historical context. Norway won the entire contest in 1995 with Nocturne, a song that contained exactly 24 words in its entire runtime.
Wait, 24 words total?
Yes, it relied almost entirely on an evocative violin melody to secure the victory.
You essentially had a 3-minute instrumental winning a songwriting contest.
Which is a testament to the power of sonic emotion over literal translation. The sources also point to 5 barefoot winners in the contest's history, including legends like Loreen and Emily DeForest.
Right, they utilized grounded primal staging rather than complex lyricism to connect.
Exactly.
Uh,
Furthermore, Celine Dion won for Switzerland singing in French to a massive European audience that largely did not speak French. What this trivia demonstrates is that raw vocal delivery and compelling visual storytelling frequently override the need for a shared vocabulary.
I mean, I agree, but I have to challenge the idea that the lyrics don't matter just because the audience can't understand them.
Oh?
The lyrics to Ina are incredibly cinematic. She literally sings the line, "A single drop turns you into shades of black and white."
That's a great visual.
Doesn't that specific lyric hand the staging team in Vienna an absolute literal visual blueprint? If the odds makers think Europe won't get it, aren't they completely ignoring the potential of the staging?
I see where you're going with this.
Can't the Latvian delegation use the lighting, the camera angles, and the stage design to make the audience actually see the emotion, completely bypassing the need for a translator?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, your challenge is entirely valid. Eurovision is a visual broadcast reaching across 5 continents.
Yeah.
It is television before it is radio. You are performing for a global, multicultural camera lens. If Atvara and her team can visually manifest that lyrical whirlpool of doubt on the stage,
Like physically represent it.
yes. If they can use stark lighting to physically isolate her in black and white, just as her lyrics describe, the language barrier effectively ceases to exist.
Wow.
The visual language translates the verbal language in real time. If the staging perfectly matches the systemic exhaustion of her vocal delivery, that casual televoter in Italy won't need to speak Latvian to understand she is singing about feeling profoundly emptied out. The emotion becomes visually legible.
And that shared emotional legibility is exactly why this specific deep dive matters to you, whether you consider yourself a Eurovision fan or not. I mean, why should you care about the betting odds of a Latvian pop contest? Because Atvara's journey with Ina serves as a massive, high-stakes case study in human connection. It reminds us that true, uncomfortable vulnerability, the messy act of admitting that you are completely drained by the people you love, has a magnetic, undeniable power.
It really does.
It doesn't matter if you are singing to a smartphone camera in your bedroom, performing to a few hundred people in a local club, or standing on a stage in Vienna broadcasting to 200 million people worldwide. Raw, unfiltered emotion acts as a universal language that cuts through all the algorithmic noise.
It truly is the ultimate test of authenticity against manufactured spectacle. She is taking a deeply local, fiercely personal shadow and dragging it into the brightest, most intensely scrutinized spotlight in the world.
Which leaves us with a final, lingering thought for you to ponder long after this deep dive ends. We live in a cultural moment where global pop music feels increasingly homogenized, you know?
Yeah, very predictable.
So much of what we consume is algorithm-driven, designed in boardrooms to go viral, and engineered to sound safely familiar to everyone. So in that kind of landscape, could singing in your native tongue about your deepest, darkest, most painful domestic struggles actually be the ultimate competitive advantage?
It's a great question.
Does supreme, uncomfortable local authenticity finally possess the power to shatter manufactured global appeal? It is a question that the stage in Vienna will answer very soon.
Can't wait to see it play out.
Same here. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the sources. Take care of yourselves, and remember, try to save at least a few % of that battery for the people who really matter.